This is video number 1. Basic question. The basic question gives us a chart of salaries rounded to the nearest $1,000 collected from the top 59 small businesses. The question tells us to create a histogram from this data and then describe the shape, center, and spread of this distribution. For my histogram, I scaled the y-axis by 5s and my x-axis by hundreds, going up to 2,000. To remember how to create a histogram, think of SOX. Shape, outliers, center, and spread. The shape of this distribution is skewed right. The spread is from 21,000 to $1,103,000. The center is located at approximately $350,000, and there's a possible outlier at the 1,001 to 2,000 area. The advanced question gives us a chart of chest measurements in inches of 5,738 Scottish militiamen. This question asks us to create a histogram and then describe the shape, center, and spread of the distribution. Also, why might this data be useful? Here's my histogram. I went up by 100s on the y-axis, and then I just plotted the different measurements on the x-axis. To answer this question, remember SOX. The distribution of the chest measurements of these 5,738 Scottish militiamen is shown through the normal curve. The center is located at its peak, which is 40 inches. The spread is 15, going from 33 to 48 inches. If this graph represented all men in the Scottish militia, it would be beneficial when making uniforms later on because they would be able to tell which is the most common chest size for men. The AP question talks about 3 rivers that had been contaminated with pesticides. Measurements were given of the concentration of aldrin, a common pesticide, taken from 20 random locations at the river. The box plots that they give us show the concentrations in parts per million of aldrin for the 20 locations in each of the 3 rivers. When looking at the box plot, you can tell that River X is skewed to the right. River Y seems to be approximately normal, having the median line in the center of quartile 2 and quartile 3. River Z is skewed left. There are no apparent outliers for any of these box plots. When looking at the medians for each box plot, you can tell that the concentrations are lowest in River Z and highest in River X. River X, being the box plot with the highest range in IQR, has the most variability in different concentrations of aldrin, while River Z has the lowest variability with its small range in IQR. Part B tells us to create a stem plot from the data that they give us. Here you can see that I start at 3 and end at 8, with my key telling me that 8/0 equals 8.0 parts per million. It's important that when making a stem plot that you don't leave any numbers out. 6 does not have any data, but it's included to tell you that there is no data. This is something that you cannot tell by looking at a box plot. The box plot makes it seem as if there is no data, that there is data for all concentrations with this stem plot. With this stem plot, it is easier to see the gap from 5.6 parts per minute to 7.3 parts per minute.